You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here Friday night. We'll get into a few things tonight. Are you seeing magic yet? If you're not, you're blind. You're using your eyes. You're not seeing with your ears. Right? Okay. We all know that the physical universe is built of sound. Google it, you'll see it. Goo-gull. That's the throat of consciousness. You know, we talked about the consciousness being goo, the all primordial goo. Well, then check the throat of the consciousness, which is Google. I'm often amazed at how quickly people give up when they're looking for something. And, no problem. I just stand back to go look again. Looking for things. Why are you asking me? You got to follow your own trails. That's how I found it. And it certainly wasn't through asking a lot of things outside of myself. Early on it was, but I learned very quickly that the only answers that were being given to me were ones that were somebody else's choices. Right? I had to make them my own, of course, but this game is so much easier than people realize. I'm going to touch on the book discovered in 1912, the same year Olympus fell. You might have called it the Titanic, but it was Olympus that fell, where the Titans actually rose up against the gods, and the Titans were left free to roam the oceans like pirates. Titanic is the allegory. And, of course, Britannia, the Britannic, which was the three sisters, Olympic, Titanic, and the Britannic. Most people have never even heard of the Britannic, but those ships were built at the Harlem Wolff shipyards in Belfast. I was born about 900 meters away from the shipyard. Rode in the same harbor the ships were built in. So again, this is about connecting your own threads, right? To see how your game unfolds for you as it unfolds for me. We're all telling the same story, just from different life experience perspectives, different points of intent, different points of view. Just a coincidence that Wilfrid Voynich was the gentleman who discovered this book, 14th or 15th century book, in an Italian monastery. Of course, it had to go back to Rome, Italy. And the name says it all for me anyway. It's my eyes key, right? Voix and key. You might say Vonich, Vonich, whatever the case may be. And of course, it's about freeing the true will. That's what the will free is all about. Will free the Trinity. I happen to share in a former given name from my parents that same name. Will free the divine feminine with the key of God, with twin sons of the sun. That's what my first name translated into. And of course, I changed my path accordingly to Purity Reborn, which was unbeknownst at the time. Of course, everything's perfect. It's not a matter of what you know. It's a matter of what you are aware of. You know everything. Well, the ego thinks it does. Anyway, let's not confuse you with the program, Chatterbox, that runs in your left brain, constantly trying to prove how really beautiful and smart it is, and how clever it is, and how competitive it is, and all of the different programs that run constantly within the human psyche called the id and the ego. That's why your ego requires an id entity, because that's what it is. It's an ID. It's an id, right? Identification. Now, these are early on clues as to the real magic contained within the sounds of the words, which, of course, creates all reality. What you say is what you create. Say, himself, herself, itself. Anytime you hear that sound, it is pure creation, regardless of the language you hear it in. So I was reading through that article regarding this book, and just had that feeling, I got the key for this. I know I've got the key for it. Because all these people look at the scholars. They've been trying since it was found to decode this book, and they're up to 9 words, which I thought was an interesting number, don't you think? That's what I thought too. And interesting what the words were. They all had relevance to me. As far as a game plan, I could tie it together with my experience as to why it was those 9 words. You know, words like Taurus, Chiron, Centauri. You know, that's 3 of the words. There was a few others, cotton, cassar, and of course we get into all sorts of different sounds around the supposed translations. You see, what they're trying to do is decode it through different writings and different languages, correlating like they did with the Rosetta Stone was found in the 1800s, I believe, in Egypt, and it was the stone that made the hieroglyphs readable. That, for me, was a physical clue. So had to find the spiritual one, right? Because everyone seems to be working in this physical realm all the time, and it's really boring. I like creating effects in the physical based on what I know from spiritual. And we found the physical key to decoding different languages so we could start to understand ourselves. But the one thing that was overlooked, it was only one little thing regarding all languages. You have all these brilliant scholars that, well, I can speak 20 languages and I'm passable in 20 others, and all the, yeah, it's great. I'm glad you have that, but that's an ego tool if that's all you're using it for. It's just straight up communication with another tongue that uses exactly the same thing every other language uses that we kind of overlooked, and that was sound, the creation of all things. And this is exactly what now has absolutely destroyed the crown. It has destroyed all of the court systems. I mean this quite literally. That's where truth is going, straight into the belly of the beast. I don't know about you, but I think decoding the Vonich manuscript that has eluded scholars for over a century might be interesting news for most of the masses, where, speaking of truth and whatnot may not resonate with the Walmart shoppers, but a titillating bit of information of, wow, the Voynich book has been decoded. Well, let's just say all the intellectuals can gather around and stare at it all along, and they'll never see it until they start hearing it. And that, what I mean by that is seeing it with their ears. And I think a lot of you that have been at this table for a while know exactly where that's going, and can see the domino falling that's going to take down the banks, the corruptions of the crown, the judges, the lawyers, the cops, the militaries, the insurance companies, the banks, everything. It shreds it because it shows it for the illusion that it is. And I don't know about you, but letting a couple of 100 million people know that they've been screwed by our points of consciousness have been duped and screwed by other points of our consciousness. Most of those actually totally unaware. I mean, there's not that many playing this game. It's not a very difficult game to play if you can keep everybody wrapped up in the literal. You can control an entire planet with that. Haven't you noticed? Another little note too. Anything that gets posted on my Facebook page, if you haven't got, I don't care who it is, if you haven't got an allegorical breakdown for the headlines that you're putting up there and it just comes across as some sort of fear porn, I will delete it. And no harm, no foul. I have no issues with anyone putting anything on my page as long as they can redefine it, redefinition it. Other than that, I'll just delete it because I don't have time to do it for everybody. So it's time to cut your mitten strings and get with it yourselves. Stop asking others questions that you need to ask yourself. Google is your friend. The answers you require are around you right now. They are everywhere. They are infinite. You are sitting listening right now for a very specific reason. Everything in the room or place where you are at around you is telling you all the clues you need to know if you have the eyes to see it. And that's what we're doing at this table, showing people the eyes to see it. And actually, they're on the sides of your head. That's why you got 2 ears and 2 eyes. There's your quad. Yeah, all roads lead back to poem. Oh, you might say Rome, but of course I like to interchange the P and the R as well, right? So what you have is the real story of the fact that Creator is a poet. All roads lead to poem. Po, the seed, the spirit seed of creation, magnetic electric. So it's po-me. But you can still pronounce it poem. P-O-M-E, pronounced pronounces poem just as well as POEM. So let's put the magnetic first for a change, shall we? Because I've had enough of this overindulgence in masculine electrical intent. It kind of went a little screwy. Ends up in things like world wars and shit like that. Quite mental. But I'll tell you, to put a lighter twist on this whole notion of what people deem as death is simply this. That's the stop point for that individual that still not getting it. Okay, well, body drops back to zero with all the tools that you've learned to do it again. Okay? So I'm going to put your reality in a very interesting place right now. You may have heard it like this before. I'm going to get into a little bit deeper. I'm going to show you how all these things tie together. From the silver screen, I'm going to take you on a Star Trek ride through Mission Impossible and prove it. I won't just say it, I'll prove it. Your mission. And remember, the J sound I silence, so all you're left with is the I'm from Jim, right? Your mission, I am key, row key, which is church, by the way. Key, your key, or Kirk, as in James Tiberius Kirk. Key, row key. So your mission, I am key, row key. If you choose to take it, you are on a suicide mission to kill the under I. Sue, under in French, I, the self, side, to kill. You are on a suicide Miss Ion, or Miss Shun, or my Isis in creation mine. Oh, so many things in just the word mission. So if you choose to take it, you are on a suicide mission. If you pass the mission, you live, immortal. And if you fail your mission, well, you go back to birth, replay from Groundhog Day 0, but with more mission tools this time from your last Miss Shun, until you figure it out as an I'm mortal again. That's the Homer Simpson moment. Right? Because the instant you exit the game, you come back into the same game piece to do it over. Different being this time, though, you have some extra tools at your disposal. So this is really your choice between I'm mortal game or the immortal game. And while the ego refuses to believe this, I will leave those Piscean fish heads to go and drown themselves and, well, enjoy the ride. It's a merry-go-round. How many times would you need to be on a merry-go-round going around and around and around before you would actually start noticing everything around you? Oh, the ride's fun at first. I'm on the merry-go-round, and you're looking at all the other kids and blah, blah, blah. But you never paid attention to what was going on. Then the ride was over. You had to get off. And then you went back onto the merry-go-round. Maybe you chose the same character. You seemed to like that kind of sculpted fish-type creature with a saddle on it. And you rode that one for a while. Then you finally decided, well, you're noticing a few things, and you think, I'm going to change my game piece. And then you decide to jump on this saddled pig, for example, or a saddled chicken, or a saddled horse, where I have chosen the unicorn this ride. The spiral into infinity. I'm going to do the immortal, the not mortal game now. It's really simple. Think about it. Infinite beings living infinite lifetimes. Tell me what your last death was like. You can't, because it's not in your consciousness. It's not meant to be. Just the memories, right? We're here to learn and gain bliss. You might have some stuff tied up with it from the past. Excuse me, not able to see things, but the problems that most people have to go through are things that have been dragging on and on and on throughout lifetime after lifetime. And for some of us, we've been on this merry-go-round a very long time, and we've noticed all of the stores around it. We've noticed all of the signs, all of the sales, all of the, wherever you basically can now, in your mind, see all of the garden. ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. Yeah, what's your pose creation? Your pose. Asha. Well, that's what you rise from, the ashes. We all fall down until we decide to not bother with that any longer, where we all stand up. I've had a few people tag me in the last day or so regarding legal this and legal that. Whatever it takes to get you guys there, just go to my website. And all I'm going to tell people to do is start at choices and read everything. And you won't be asking questions about, well, do I register this? Do I have a limited that? Do I need to this? No. You don't need to do any of that once you know what you're doing. That's the game, to see that you don't need to do that. Right? We've played the games to expose all the things we need. I equate it simply like this. Imagine picking up a rifle to shoot a bullseye. You put a bullet in the chamber and you pull the trigger and you hit a bullseye and you go, woohoo, I win. And then because you're so excited about that win, you bend over and you pick up the spent cartridge and you put the spent cartridge back in the rifle and pull the trigger again, expecting another win, another bullseye. But you didn't bother to move on from that one and get a new bullet. You just keep reusing the same one over and over. And then I will ask you, how's that working for you? Click, click, click. How come I'm not hitting the target? I'm pulling the trigger. I'm aiming the rifle. I said, yeah, but you got no gunpowder in the bullet, and you certainly don't have a bullet to send, right? And these are allegories. The instant you think you've won is the instant you've lost. That's your fork in the road. Now, you can hang out there all you want, and it'll feel good for a little while, and then the universe will start nudging you along. Mama bird will start hoofing you out of the nest again. And to the degree that you're motivated is the degree of whether it's a feather brushing you or a steel-toed boot under your ass over the rail. And you're the one that chooses it. No one but you. Hate to tell you that. So you are on a suicide mission. Excuse me. For those in the literal mindset, from the instant you are born, you have but one goal. Apparently, if you're to believe the system and the literals, you have a goal to work yourself to death. Good game, huh? Woohoo! Let's keep doing that one. And maybe when I hit 67 or 70, whatever they want to raise the retirement to, which is kind of silly, it's not going to happen anyway, but you start seeing the insanity of your life. You start seeing the whole point of, well, here, try this one on. Oh, I'm dead anyway. Might as well have some fun, huh? It's a suicide mission. If you were to think in the regular mainstream think, you're born, you go to school, you work, you retire, family, whatever, then you die. And apparently there is a Cadillac waiting for you in heaven that you made payments on. But you won't get it until you die. Haven't seen anybody drive back with one. So you are on a suicide mission. I'm not sure how many Divine Wind pilots, kamikaze pilots, were making many plans the morning they were drinking their sake and tying the headbands on to climb into a cockpit that was sealed shut with only enough fuel to get to the target. I don't think they were worried about what they were going to do on Saturday at the mall. They had a goal. A little insane, if you ask me, but it's the allegory. Okay? It's got nothing to do with culture. It's got nothing to do with color, language, wars, whatever. Those are all the divides and conquers. You need to see the energies and the thought processes that go into these. And then have a look at them from an allegorical perspective and put it into perspective. Or remain in tunnel vision on the little fishy or the piggy on the merry-go-round while you stuff your face full of candy floss. Don't worry. There's a coffin with your name on it. You might as well climb in now, get it sealed shut, and throw yourself into the ground. That might be enough to wake you up to being immortal. Or not. Either way, you win. Because if you don't figure it out this time, don't worry. You'll come back. And you'll live the exact same life over and over and over and over. Hopefully this is motivating for you. Until you figure it out. It wouldn't make a lot of sense to keep changing your game piece. Just change the parameters of the game. There are infinite realities of you dealing in this game. Anything you can think of as a happenstance for you, if you've thought of it, it's already happened. So say thank you. That reality exists because I remember it. I just saw it. You know, that'll answer anybody that asks the question, what happens if the cops pull you over? Well, you want to pick that timeline, go for it. You've already experienced it, Marsha. Or how about you start dreaming of something different? Now, let's have a game of flow instead of blow. Okay? Let's take this Vonage manuscript. And let's just say that Kate has a key that opens up the minds of these intellectuals who have missed it because they've been blind with their own brilliance of intellectual retardation. And I say that in the very humble way of retardation, slowing down. Right? To try to take some of the charge off these words. It's like occasionally I hear back from people, and I can always tell when somebody still has energy contained within a word by how they say it. And you've probably heard them as cuss words or whatever you want to call them because somehow they're agreed upon. Apparently in mainland China, out in the rurals, fuck you, I think is something to do with an edible plant. It's about removing these charges. These are the charges, the energetic charges that are contained in the agreements of the words that you need to break yourself free of. If you turn around and start passing judgment on somebody because of a word, that's because you've interpreted that word a certain way. Not the one who sent it. Albeit they have probably the same idea of what the word means to them as it means to you, and it will create a cause-effect feedback loop that probably won't be the most beneficial for either of you. And those are the energies you keep feeding back and forth. Dare to be the one to break that cycle. Dare to be the one to break that spell. You throw someone a scowl, they'll throw one back. You throw them a smile, they'll probably throw one back. So what are you reflecting in your mirror? If you're out looking for fights and everything else, that's what you'll get. The answers are quite simple. They're just not easy to get to. The good news is we have a roadmap for it. But imagine the domino falling. Words already went out, by the way, to this individual. Anyone that wants to contact Professor Stephen Box, B-A-X, yeah, I fucking kid you not. Outside the box, indeed. Okay, that has these 9 words decoded. Well, maybe a little chat to show him a different perspective on how to hear what he's seeing instead of seeing what he's hearing. Show the other side of the quad. Because here's the joy of the intellectual, where once the creative is introduced into it, it'll go. It'll let loose. It just needs a little watering on occasion. And it did say looking for other linguistic people to, maybe chip in at the table. Okay, well here, how about the master key? You want the Rosetta Stone? Here, check this out. Well, Oprah, let me tell you, what motivated me to go on this path. Well, this is why I love making people world famous. Well, you see, it all started when I saw a lot of corruption and what have you, and then I ended up getting kidnapped, my family kidnapped by the Guelph police and the mayor and Karen Farbridge, Robert Davis, and all these other people that really gave me nothing to lose because I knew there was a lot of word trickery going on in the courts. Oh, really, Kate? Yes, Ellen. Absolutely. That's exactly. That's probably going to whet the appetite more of the mainstream Walmarters. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to listen to trails and all the rest of this shit because they're too busy buying their $5 off DVDs and their Super Coke, right? Their big bonus family packs of nachos and their uber-sized lazy boys and their big screen TVs and and their size 49 thigh pants. You see what I'm saying? How long do you think a system will last under its own weight? Kate, tell me more about this kidnapping, corruption, and stuff. Oh, sure, no problem. This is what happened, and everything was pure fraud, and I just exposed that. And of course, like the movie Conspiracy Theory, Mel Gibson. The good guy. Everyone was hoping. He was the nutter, right? Well, that was the character that I was playing in this, and the bad guys, if you want to call them that. Just remember, it's a movie. Let's play. Well, they were trying to stop me from letting people like you know this truth, so that you're not under their control anymore through sound and phonics. How long do you think that'll take to go viral? How long do you think it'll take that? You starting to see the beach in Australia yet? I'm already there. Because these are the games I create. These are the visuals I put forth. And I have to tell you, when that hit me this morning, and thanks, had to be a Stephen, no less, that sent it to me. Thanks, Stephen. From BC, of course. Yeah, I know. Nice domino. What do you think? Because the Vonage manuscript I actually looked at 5-10 years ago. I've always been fascinated with linguistics and little mysteries, right? Always looking down rabbit holes somewhere. And that was actually one that I did look at. So when I saw it resurface, I thought, interesting, full circle. And I look at things that come back on the merry-go-round. Remember I said the merry-go-round earlier? And I look for the things that re-resonate in my now, because that's a clue to say, listen, you missed it on the other paths. Here's the opportunity knocking again. Have a look at the door this time. It's wide open. So what I do now is the merry-go-round is stopped, and I'm very carefully walking around and looking at everything that I've passed by. And how you find it is simply shutting up. If you can get the monkey brain to shut up long enough, it'll get you out of the literal trap. Literal is defining something, how do you put this? You stay on the same linear path. Well, that's an Illuminati symbol that means this, 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 and not once did anyone stop to connect all of the threads as to why they all mean the same thing together. Oh, I see lots of cleverness. There are lots of points of view out there, radio hosts, mainstream or alternative, whatever you want to call it, that are still spewing the same shit over and over and over because they're popular. Oh, look, everybody loves me because I'm this. And then I'll tell them that I'm a freedom fighter, and then they'll, it's a completely bass-backwards approach to it. The game was simple. I just needed the fucking truth. Don't give me your bells and whistles. I wear those. I don't want to hear the dramas. I don't want to hear the intellectual Babylonian. You're that student hanging out in the Harvard pub that Goodwill Hunting comes in and shreds and exposes for your wonderful ability to memorize somebody else's original idea. Dare to be different. Dare to be original. Dare to be you. I did. It's a scary thing, yeah. But I'm not sure how many guys out there listening went through the war of knowing they're female. Here's a challenge to all the boys out there. You want to play the game? You want to prove that you're a man? Because I'm only half the man you are. Tell you what. Take tomorrow. Tomorrow's Saturday. Well, it's Saturday in Australia right now, so for some it is Saturday. Dare to go out to a second-hand shop and get yourself a nice outfit. And dare to wear it around. Go shopping in it. Dare to be you. And I don't know how many thousands of gallons of methane just got released there from all you big tough men shitting yourselves. And you're not even brave enough to do that. Test yourself. And I know there's some of you out there going, that sounds like a lot of fun. You're fucking right. Get out and have some fun. I'll get your attention. I just make your day interesting. That's all I do. And I'll tell you, I make your day interesting. You notice me. Guess what? I start talking. Boy, I think I might have something going there with a little bit of resonation that, because it's all benevolence. I know you're God's. I don't think it. I know it. Like I said, the only answer I ever expect or ever want from anyone from that benevolent position that I'm sitting in is, okay. There is no debate here. Debate means I'm trying to harm. Debate means that I'm trying to prove something to make my ego look really, really clever. No. That's the meat stick game. That's why when people want to pick a fight, and I say that very, very loosely, I just turn it off. It's like a bad TV show. Oh, I'm going to bed. Click. That's it. It's really easy. I've seen that show. That's a rerun. Yeah. Marsha. You're on a suicide mission. Now I'm going to ask you, what have you got to lose? That was a trick question. Nothing. You've got nothing to lose. And nothing to gain. You see, out of nothing comes everything. And until you see this mirror, you will have exactly what you have. Don't expect any more. Oh, you'll get it right just enough to keep you in the game. That's how the universe works. No, you'll get kept in the game long enough until you've passed that door that you needed to go through the last time. And then you find yourself like, oh, let me see. A bunch of war criminals, for example, World War II. You get through the assembly line of piano wire. And guess what? Snip and wah, back to the diapers. And you get to go through that whole time over and over and over and over. Remember, there's infinite timelines. There's one that World War II doesn't even exist. At all. And that's the one we're all heading to. Where all of these things do not exist. And all of the perfect versions of our stuff start reuniting. But there is a timeline where it does. And those that haven't figured it out through that timeline will continue through it until they're not included in that timeline, where there's one less in that timeline. One by one, as those within that timeline awaken, they don't revisit it. It just disappears. Not much of a war if you don't have enough people fighting it, huh? And that's what we do. We rotate ourselves through our own cycles. Rotati. Spirit, breath, and gratitude. In the crucifixion of consciousness or the creation of love in consciousness. The mirror is in every word. It's in every sound. And you will not see it with your eyes. You can correlate it with your ears and your eyes, but you will not see it with your ears alone or hear it with your eyes alone. You need to bring both of those together. Remember, everything you needed to learn, you learned in kindergarten, and my favorite time in kindergarten was show and tell. That's why when I do essays, I want people to read along with me so it actually makes sense. Otherwise, it just sounds like literal English when there is nothing further from the truth than that. It's a pretty easy game. It wasn't so easy, but listen, coming through it, I have nothing but gratitude in how quick this all unfolded, and all I needed to do was step through that one door I was missing for so long. Found it, came through it, and here we are today. Isn't that cool? It's almost like it was meant to be or something. It was funny, I had to, speaking of World War II, I had the illusion there of, had to go back through a series I watched a couple of years back, and I had eyes then, but not to obviously not to the degree now that I do. But I said, you know what? I'm going to revisit that because I haven't because I loved the series. It was well done. It was well set up, and it was based on true people's lives. the stories of people's lives in Easy Company of the 506th, the 101st Airborne, I think 2nd Division or whatever. But as I was watching it, I'm of course seeing with different eyes. The opening of it is Band of Brothers. There's Bob, Christ consciousness into creation of Christ consciousness. That might explain something for you, Vicky. Anyway, that's her hubby's name. He's a Cancer. Anyway, at the very beginning, it shows, and you'll see it on the cover too, it shows Band of Brothers and a group of men standing underneath. And if you take the time to count them, as I do, there's 13 of them there. Not 12, not 14, not 11, not 15, 13 of them. And just so happens that the main character, Richard Winters, when they're walking towards the plane in the first episode, he's got around his neck, the head with the Christ thing with King of Kings, whatever, allegory, and it had a number on it, was number 67, of course, 13. And it goes on and on and on. Even the names just blew me away. I mean, seriously, Colonel Sink? Uh-huh. How about Captain Sobel or Sobel or Sow the Seeds of War? And when you watch the opening one, he gets demoted because his usefulness was gone. What happened was he was a perfect commander who had trained the best men in the regiment, but was unable to lead them in the field. He's a bookie, as I call him. He had no creative ability. So he got promoted to jump school in England. And I've already watched the whole thing, so I really have, even just watching a couple of the episodes again, picking out points of the set versus the characters and what have you, it's just getting funnier and funnier when you're listening to it from the neutral position of don't get emotionally involved because they're all just games. And it's amazing to see some of the people that are still emotionally connected to it haven't been able to let it go, but that's part of that game. And they'll have to come back through and do it again. Wonder how these guys would feel knowing they have to come back through Bastogne again. And they will. Until they figure out signing up in the first place is not a good idea. Neat, eh? Yeah, suicide mission. Sous, S-O-U-S, French for under. I, self, yes. I, to see. Side, to kill. So that's what you're here to do, to kill the lower self. It's a suicide mission. You want to be the higher self? You want to be immortal? Well, it's time to unpack the camel, boys and girls. I think that would be the best thing. Just saying. Now, someone had asked me earlier about doing the four cornering on a document. Now, guys, this is just allegorical, but it is a functional tool with the right concept. It's a rule used against the rule makers. You make the rules, okay, you got to follow them. Four cornering of a document basically is what it is simply this. Just go into all the legal journals of it, and what it says is when a document is four-cornered, it's sealed at the four corners, north, south, east, and west, the four winds, the fourfold nature of man, okay? The four directions, all of it. And what it's saying is this document is a complete creation. When you get sent something legally, it's an incomplete creation. It's not four-cornered, is it? And woe betide the fool that would send that from a legal department four-cornered. They're basically signing their own death warrant when they do that. That's the neat thing about it. It's either going to kill you or free you, one of the two. So I just chose to use it from the freedom perspective. So get the concept of what it is first before you start to think that you're going to use it. You've got to understand the essence of what it is. And the essence is you are God, start acting like it. So when you four corner, you what you're saying is this is a complete creation. Let no man add to or take away from. You're basically writing your own page in the Bible, your Bible. Right? By duality, Taurus field, bull. We're all writing our own books, books of life. If you can imagine walking through life with your own personal poet beside you, you're not a scribe. You're the scribe. The poet is the one that writes the story for you as you're, well, listen, you're busy playing your game, but imagine, because it's what you're doing, you're writing the story of your own existence. You're writing your own dragon. So start looking at it from that perspective. Imagine you had your own personal biographer walking with you every instant of the day, writing down every detail of your life like an odyssey. What kind of odyssey are you writing? Is yours worthy of Homer? Is yours worthy of Jason and the Argonauts, of Perseus, of Tiresias, of any of these? The Oedipus Rex stories? Are yours worthy of that kind of notoriety? Are they worth reading? If somebody read your life story, is it interesting? Is it worthy of the Library of Congress with Step? Now you can start looking at your own story. Better make it a bit more interesting. Or you'll just be another one of those pulp fictions sitting in the Walmart bin for 50 cents. Is that what you want? You're an all-star novelist of the highest order. You're the J.R. Tolkiens. And here you are writing anonymously. That's what mystery or my story is all about. It's about writing your story. Write it from the perspective of the whole world is going to read it. Is it going to be worthy of you? Is it going to be worthy reading? Are they going to put it in a movie? Are they going to put it in a TV series, you know? They're going to splash it across the big screens. Charlie went to work today, got paid, went home. The end. Yeah, that's a good one. That's the everyman story, apparently. What's different? Oh, here, let me see. Charlie, on his way to work, decided to stand up for people. Got hassled, became a freedom fighter of sorts, woke up to the real truth of what's going on, took on the entire world system, and collapsed it. To be continued. Which one are you going to read? Which is your story? Oh, I'll poke at your ego. Ego hates to be. Wait a minute. You want competition? How about competition to be the best God you can be within yourself? How about that for some competition? How about that for a little stand-up comedy? What is your story telling? What difference are you making? What chapter are you writing in the mystery of life? The my story of life. My divine feminine creation into the tree. What leg OC are you putting out there? It really is that simple. And you get to be the one to choose. You're the author. You are the authority. The author of self crucified, or the author of self creating love into consciousness. The truth shall set you free. And all you have to do is stand in it. It sure beats the muck and the shit that most people want to stand in every day. I'm kind of good with not doing that. You know, I create enough of my own shit and garbage and what have you. Boy, I've had a lot of people contact me today in the shill realms. No, I don't think so. Sorry, guys. I just like checking Skype just to see if anybody's tagging. And let me see. Oh, I've seen this picture a few times. Dr.Dixon.Gerard25, because the other 24 just don't fucking cut it. See ya, Doc. Morons. You know, I had a bit of fun with one today. Guy trolling. And you can just tell who they are. You come in, hello, or hello, dear. Those, you know the openings. The ladies know this. And I just wrote back, yes, question mark. How are you doing? And I wrote back, in reference to what? I like asking questions. And then, of course, then it opens up. Well, you know, I'm from the UK, originally living in Dubai, and I answered back, oh, I live in Dubai too. Of course, I'm telling the truth, live, the live truth. I live in Dubai. Whereabouts? Didn't come back with anything. Then I wrote back, my daddy is the chief investigator for online crimes. No sooner did that line go out. Offline. It's a lot of fun. I love playing with these guys. You know. That's called seed planting 101. So next time he does it, guess what's going to be burning in the back of his little kangaroo court? Jesus, I hope I don't run into anyone like that again. So it might just have been stopped. Who knows, right? I just got your post, Larry. Thank you. I can't even begin to describe the enormity of what I'm talking about right now. We have the keys to the entire kingdom in phonics. And it's unfolding more and more day by day. And I know this because so many more of you are going, oh my God, I get it. I see it. Go ahead. Tell me that we're not moving forward. I dare you. That's the joy of truth. Once it's discovered, it can never be taken away. And it will always keep you safe. Kind of a neat double-edged sword, eh? You can never lose it. It'll cut through anything, the sword of Damocles. And it also gives you infinite shield. Well, that's what being an immortal is, right? God mode? How would you doubt that? That's the game, to lose the doubt, to lose the Piscean I believe or I don't believe. And it's not gonna take much to take the entire system down now. So get the word out to the Linguistics Society and start letting them know about what we're doing. It's like the little post I put up today. And guess who's holding the master key? LOL. We are. I would have no problem sitting down with any intellectual. Tell them to shut the fuck up and listen. Do you want to figure this out? There's only 2 words going to come out of your face. Okay. Beyond that's debate. Do you want to debate? Well, then head to the bathroom because you apparently are a masturbator, so go. I'll wait until you're done. Get your mind back on the work. Come on back. You know, it's beyond funny. I got a couple more shows tomorrow, hanging out with James. I'll have all the information posted, of course, and I'm hanging out with Elizabeth Mulligan as well. And haven't seen any posts regarding that, so I'll let people know what's going on. Many of you are starting to realize the power of this knowledge and the peace that it gives you, having this knowledge. That's the game I'm after, the peace. Not only the piece of the puzzle, but the peace of mind. Been playing this game quite long enough. Let's get Mike opened up here. And 774. Why am I not clicking on that? I know that number. Val?
Hi, Kate. It's Lisa.
Lisa, how are you?
I'm awesome. How the heaven are you? I so had a 3D day and needed a laugh, and my ribs hurt from. I had a call just so I could stop laughing for a minute.
Yeah. How's your suicide mission going?
Me on a suicide mission? I've never been on a suicide mission. That's why I called in. The only thing I've ever done is challenge myself to be a better God, and I think that's where I get frustrated.
What part of life? Here's the question I ask everybody: what part of life isn't a suicide mission? If you were to take mainstream think, the way we've been brought up, you're born, you live a life in fear of dying, and then you die, apparently.
I never believed it even when I was taught it as a child.
I realize I'm not asking what you believe. What I'm putting out there is that what part of that isn't a suicide mission?
Oh no,
if
absolutely.
if you're going into something thinking or knowing you're going to die, that's a suicide mission.
Well, I think my soul knew Earth was a suicide mission anyway, but I chose to come anyway.
Okay, see,
because I could care less because I have a sense of my immortality, and I've acted like it, and that ended up in tremendous amounts of circumstances. In my book, nobody can even read my life story. I've had to break it up into 3 books, and that's just only till I'm like 30. So, people can stomach it, and I know you know what I mean because I've only known you for a short period of time, but I've grokked you, and
let's put it in.
I know your details without even having to hear them.
Okay, well, let's have a look at it from a different viewpoint. And when people talk about coming here, where's here?
To your show.
I'm not. No, hang on. No, when you were saying.
Earth. Oh, you mean Earth? Yes, I meant on planet Earth.
Okay, where's
but
Earth?
I know I'm also in infinite numbers of all other places my consciousness is. I just choose to be focused in this physical human body for what is considered certain hours of a day here.
Okay, yeah, because this is one of the things that a lot of the new cagers get caught up in, and they forget about the rest of the universe. So where is here? Here is now, and now is the experience. And the viewpoint of the experience is from one planet of infinite planets, and you are infinitely everywhere anyway. So that's the really.
Agreed. I also know I'm Octurian of soul origin, and I know it. I can't tell you why. I just know.
Well, that's fine. That's your clue. It's yours. You people can tell me whatever they want about themselves. What is resonating with you? What is your story? That is real to you. You tell that to someone out in the street, you'll blow them off. That's why.
That's a few times. Try telling it to a psychiatrist.
Well, yeah, and they're going to think you're crazy. This is one of the reasons why I'm trying my damnedest to get people to stop talking about specifics as it relates to them. You know, like the whole thing, the Rothschilds right up the end of the night and all that. All that does is it creates dominoes in people's heads, and it distracts them and throws them off. So this is why this table is about honing concepts. So I try not to bring in anything literal without giving the full expansion of the domino as to why it was brought in and redefine the why instead of having it been assumed. Right? Because that's the problem with the egos. They assume everything. They really
do. And, you know, the only thing I'd like to throw in there is my own thing I've come to about the ego, because I tried to kill my ego for a long time, and I got there to where I was separate from it, but I was so lost in goddess, as I call it, that it's a dangerous place. You cannot survive on this earth when you're all in spirit. It's just not a safe way to be in the human body. So instead of wanting to kill my ego, what I've done is I've given it a promotion to my director of integrity for my spirit, which is what it was meant to be in the first place. So that's how I do it.
Again, it's a matter of who's in control of the ship, you or the ego. They're both equally needed here in the physical realm. Remember oil, water. The ego and the spirit never touch. They only intertwine. The ego being all physical on the oil side of, or the water side of things, let's call it, matter, water, is focused only on that. And the spirit, of course, is only focused on spirit. So there's that intertwining war where when you get them to learn to work together, you use the assets of both the ego and the self. And you bring them into harmony.
Absolutely. Actually, it's really interesting you said that, because when I had my Kundalini awakening, or actually it's come up a few times, I actually was in a place where I couldn't. I had to give both answers. I had to give my ego's answer and my higher self's answer, and they came about in different order, and in order to bring them together, and like you said, in service is how to do it. But they're completely different, and only the ego. All fear lives in the ego because it is the only thing that is mortal. We are immortal, and fear, and otherwise, when you know your God self, you don't fear anything. You'll do anything and say anything. And I have, and unfortunately that's perceived as mentally ill on this planet, but we're changing that.
Well, again, it depends on what you're saying to the people that would deem you to be mentally ill, and I assure you most of the things that people would say, I would deem them to be mentally ill. Again, I'm only listening from my perspective.
Yes.
That's all. So
I get that, and we all are. What I like to say is we're all different colors on the palette, and I want as many colors, all the colors. I don't want just black and white or just colors, or I want any artist will tell you the more medium you have, the more capacity for beauty and complexity. It's just like cymatics. You know, you were talking about how we're created by
some of the most beautiful.
You're absolutely right.
Lisa, that's beauty is the eye of the beholder, because some of the most beautiful works of art I've seen were charcoals.
Awesome. But what I was saying is that the intricacies, like I was using the example of cymatics, when you raise the vibration, when you turn up the cymatics, it creates to a higher order, which I find personally more beautiful. I'm not saying that it is, because the eye of the beholder is what makes it beautiful. But for me, as you turn up the vibration, when you watch cymatics affect either sand or water, and all the videos you can watch on YouTube about it, and you watch as the frequency changes, the pattern gets much more intricate. And to me, more intricate is beautiful. Whereas to a lot of 3D or the Walmart or people that you were referring to getting their $5 DVDs, they don't see it as beautiful. They see it as stupefying to them. It's boring because they don't get it. That's my perception.
All right. Well, let's bring Mike in here, because I'm going to ask Mike to do me a favor tonight.
Mike from Hawaii? Awesome.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, Mike, if I can, because I have to hit the road before the end of the hour, 9 o'clock before the show, what I was going to ask you to do potentially is we can keep the show rolling, that's not a problem, but get you to call in on the host line in case you want to go into the rollover, or if people want to do that.
Yeah, I'll do that, Kate. I'm kind of multitasking at the moment myself.
Oh, yeah, I kind of figured that. Or if, I guess, Bindi or... Yep. Well, no, here, let's throw it out there. We got Mark. You're here, so I'm going to ask you because you're right here, but we have Mark. We have Bindi. We got
Something
Ninja, if she's around.
Of earlier, Kate, and when we talk about like going back and doing it again, and I just really... And not like when we talk about Groundhog Day, and it wasn't like you're going to come back and repeat lifetime after lifetime. That was an illusion in a way also. That was just one perspective how we perceive it as lifetime after lifetime. And in coming into this clarity, we're really watching it in terms of right now in that neutral point, how it's just, okay, repeat, okay, you didn't get it, repeat. And it's not coming into another lifetime, so to say. It's really right now where I see that open up, like the so-called timelines, where I'm looking at someone who's so-called, say, 60, 70, 80, and someone who's, say, 2, 4, or 5, and myself who's in the middle, and I'm not seeing any difference in linear time. I'm still looking at the same picture going, well, what part of when we go into the old paradigm, when you talked about like retirement age being moved to 70, I'm like, which part of selling ourselves into slavery until we die doesn't this picture show you? And so to me, this isn't anything about the system. This is just a consciousness going, okay, can I show you this aspect for you to go, what the fuck? And just wanted to share that.
Well, thanks, Mike. It's so very true, and Yeah. There's so many
So
things
again,
that I
it's a
want
limiting reality. It's like we're limiting a reality. We're limiting our children's reality by going, well, you're gonna do the same thing. Well, no, I have a whole new dream, a whole new imagination, and that's what we're unfolding and we're sharing. And I'm so happy and blessed to be able to come to the table and hear other points of view who are resonating with that same beauty, that same truth, where we can take a breath and relax.
Exactly. So when we start spotting the energies, I had a great talk with Sheila earlier today about this. Once you learn how to spot the energies in yourself and what you're actually emanating, you'll see the energies that you're going to be attracting and repelling. Remember, this is an ebb and flow universe, all dealing in the magnetic electric ebb and flow. And you can control your waters around you when you control your ship, your mind. You want smooth sailing? Well, then offer out smooth sailing. In terms of service for the all, when you are doing that from that perspective, it's both selfless and selfish at the same time, and they better be equally powerful. You better be so selfish about fixing yourself and making your universe so crystal clear by serving the selfless nature of all, because you're included in that anyway, and that is walking the straight and narrow. That is the difference between ego and spirit. And I mean, I've had many conversations regarding ego, and I've had lots of conversations with people, many people that have told me that their ego is in check, and they still haven't found it yet. They got a glimpse of it, but they still haven't found that it's still controlling them. And that's the tricky little bastard I spoke of for years, that makes you think that it was you saying it when it wasn't. And it's easy to spot, and it's spottable when literal things come in to equate concepts instead of taking the concepts and expanding them and saying them in an entirely different way. Instead of using the same repeat that someone else says about explaining something, you've probably heard more original analogies at this table than you've heard anywhere else in the world. Because I trust the pictures that come in to describe these things. They're not words, they're pictures. Like, how many times have you thought of people trying to shoot the same target with an empty shell? And that's the ego thinking it's fun. I got a bullseye, I'm going to do that again, and the shell's empty. You can't do the same thing twice. History does not repeat, it echoes. The mirror of Horst Taine, Mark Twain, you might know him as, said that very, very clearly. So again, it's about get original with. Yeah, that's a great story. How would you tell the same story in a different allegory? When you can do that, then you have the concepts. Because when you can take one concept and flip it into an entirely new way of saying it, an entirely new way of saying shoot the bull, then it's original. Then it's a contained concept. And why I took shoot the bull and broke it back literally as to why I proved why shoot the bull what meant to talk. Up to that point, I could ask anybody, why do we use the term shoot the bull when we mean we're going to go and talk with someone? Had anyone ever told you the reason why? No, just took it for granted. That's what the ego does. The ego loves to take things for granted, take things, clever little snippets from other people's works, and claim them as their own, going back to the Harvard student in Good Will Hunting. That's what most of humanity is to me, a bunch of those pompous, arrogant intellectuals that can spew the words.
Don't move to Martha's Vineyard, Kate.
Oh, they wouldn't stand a chance. They're going down anyway. You know, that whole money thing is gone.
That's where I live in amongst the middle of them all. Oh, it's beautiful.
So, no, I challenge people to get outside their own box. And that's BAX. If anyone noticed, they'd know what I was going to be talking about tonight. Outside
the guy
the
who made the awful video.
No, Stephen Box is a professor that's been working on the Von decoding.
Oh, really? I thought, no, BAX. It was the video. It's on the link to the Voynich thing. Yes. Isn't it BAX was his name?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you having your universe defined for you, or are you going to play with the phonics?
No, I actually am not I'm not very skilled auditorily in taking information.
Oh, great. Well, yeah. Then keep convincing yourself that you're not.
You're absolutely right. But I was trying to clarify what I heard. I didn't know if I heard it correctly.
Trying, but trying. If maybe got a little program on there, Lise. Come on, let's have at her.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it. I'm a sadomasochist when it comes to this.
Well, see, I'm not, right? So again, it's just about pointing these things out and looking at them. This is what I do with myself all the time, and most people don't have the guts to do it for themselves. That's the joke.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. That's why I work in shadow work. That's what I do. I do it to myself as well. But that's why I can never usually find anyone who's good enough to call me on anything. I love having you around.
Well, what's shadow work? That's a clever term.
Shadow work is a term used for going into your ego and your subconscious.
Oh, that's even you're getting even cleverer. How about you just say what it is? Having a look at all the shitty things. If thine eye offend thee, pluck it the fuck out. How about that?
Well, I forgot that I was on Kate's show. I was trying to talk the way I would.
Well, no. Hon, you're still defending. You're still in ego right now. I'm playing with you. I'm throwing every hook out, and you're biting on all of them.
No, I get this. I've been this way. I was drawn this way this lifetime.
Lisa, I'm going to prove to you that you haven't heard anything I've said yet because you haven't given me the only answer I will accept. You haven't said it yet. That's why I know an ego.
I'm not trying to give you the answer that you'll accept.
Okay. No. There's only one that
there's game, and I like playing games.
Lisa, listen, stop, hon. The ego just wants to keep going and giggling and laughing and talking and sounding clever. This is what the ego program is. So I'm going to show you where your program is to get rid of it.
Okay.
Because I can see you. And I'm not going to stop at anything until I see you out, and everyone else does too. So I'm going to challenge anyone on the call right now to put their hand up, hit 1 on your dial pad or on the Skype, and I want to hear from you what the only acceptable answer I will take from anyone is.
I am God. Is that it?
No. Let me see if anyone in the Skype rooms has got it. They got it the other night. A few of them said it.
Well,
Alvita was one of them.
I had to watch my.
Oh, here we go. Hang on. No, Lisa, listen to your. I'm going to mute you, hon. You're really, really starting to not hear anything. So if I have to mute you, I will. I'm going to open up a phone line, and I need you to listen to what you didn't hear, and I've already said a couple of times on the show tonight. Okay, 661. Who we got? Kevin? I just opened up a phone line. Someone put their hand up. It's a standard number. Who we got?
Hey, Kate, you got me.
Okay.
I got bumped and came back in.
All right, hang on, Mike. Hang on. The question is, what's the only acceptable answer I will take from anybody?
Oh, I know it. I'll wait for somebody else.
Okay, thank you. I knew you did. All right. 111111, whatever. I just opened your mic. You got the answer? Area code 604.
Hello.
Mic's open. Hey, there you are.
2 letters. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I was going to say, don't say it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's go. See, you got it right again. Look at you go. I've got Colleen. I've got 603. I've got Janet. Who else we got coming in here? There we go. Okay, guys, what is the correct answer that I will accept? There's only one.
Okay.
Do you know what okay says? Do you know what okay says? It says, shut the fuck up, ego, because you're too busy trying to defend a position to look really clever and use all sorts of mannerisms and words that the ego likes to use instead of actually understanding that I am a true benevolent only wishes you to have your God empowerment back. But people don't want that, so they'll try to beat me out of it. Instead of answering with the only 2 fucking letters I ever want to hear out of someone's face, it says, you know what, Kate, I heard what you said. I'm actually going to think about it. Oh, fucking K. Got it? Nice and deep, hey? That's a deep concept, isn't it? It's saying, Kate, you know what? I'm glad to be chatting with you. I don't need to talk down on you and bury you with all of my intellectual shite because I just got rid of it. And the only thing, when someone says something to me, I'm going to answer them, okay, I'll look at that. Because I'm not thinking of the next clever thing the ego wants to say to make myself look clever, and this is the program. We all run it. And I want to say thank you, Lisa, for illustrating it. Thank you. You know how many
You're
people
welcome.
Okay, so what's the only acceptable answer?
Okay.
Perfect. Look at that. You got it right every time.
I didn't hear it till the third person, actually, to be honest. It kept blurbing in the phone. To be completely honest, it was beautiful. If you saw me trying to hear on the cell phone, it was hilarious.
Yeah. And how many times did I say it on the show tonight already, guys?
Several.
Yeah, go back and listen. You'll hear it. And
well,
yet,
I have to admit, Kate, when I first started listening to you, and a lot of times I listen to you, but it's in the background while I'm doing other things, so I don't hear you all the time. And I was doing that earlier.
And I've said it on many, many other shows. The point I'm trying to make, Lisa, is your ego is still trying to defend itself like it needs to be right, and it doesn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It just needs to go, okay, I'm going to listen closer. I'm actually going to listen this time. Because we've been so trained by our teachers, hon. We've been so trained to just regurgitate. And that's what people do. It's verbal puking of regurgitated somebody else's stuff.
I agree wholeheartedly. In my particular instance, I know it was installed on me by the experience with my mother, which helped lead me to my challenge and my destiny, so it's all good. Still have little bits of it that come out, though.
Right? Anybody else want to jump in on that? What circuit are we still running here? Nobody wants to jump in.
I love debating. I don't like arguing.
Well, yeah. See, then call Alex Jones. Don't call me. Seriously, there's no debate here. I'm not interested in debating. There's lots of
what's the definition of the word debate then?
Debate is a masturbator, someone who likes to bait hooks to get into a debate to show how clever the ego is.
I used the wrong word.
No, you used the right one. You didn't use the wrong word.
I love to throw ideas around. How's that? All different ones. That's a better.
Yeah, the ego loves that.
Thank you for making me more perfect with my words.
I'm not making anyone anything. I'm just showing people what I do. I'm creating myself my own image. I'm holding you accountable, actually.
No, and I agree. I thank you for that.
Right. This will go circular forever, you know. Anyway, Mike, are you still there? Did I lose Mike again? Oh, no, there he is. Hey, Mike?
Yeah, kid.
Oh, good. Oh, there you are. I haven't heard from anybody as far as the board goes. Now, you don't. It's just to keep the board open because when I go, I have to close.
I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, so I can definitely do that.
Okay, thank you. No, I was going to try to leave earlier today, just getting some things done, and that just didn't work out. So here I am. So I'll be hitting the road, within the next 45 minutes, and I've got an hour and a half to get to where I need to be. Yeah. I've got to be in the part of the world.
I was listening to somebody, I won't say names, and they're talking about a new heart portal is opened over Maui. And and I was just like, well, if you know if we want to relate a chakra system to the Hawaiian Islands, it's the second chakra, it's the sexual center. And, a lot of energy, a lot of steering up. It's a very strong place for female energy. I'll give them that. inside this, what we're moving into this heart space is we're moving into sacred love. And inside that sacred love is any, if we want to call it center or chakra, chakras, we're now harmonizing them with the heart frequency, with the love, making it sacred again. And so in that way, you can maybe look at the sexual energy and recognize love, because that's what it's coming into again, where we're no longer separating the two out in polarities. And we're coming into this harmonization. And it's not just talking about a heart portal in my heart or in my feeling here. It's not just a heart portal opening over Maui. This is a heart. The whole planet's a heart portal. The whole solar system's a heart portal. And the love is always here. And
yeah, again, you're so right, because this is wherever you came in on the game is the heart of where you came in. So have a look at the clues that's going to show you the 4 chambers of the heart. Ireland for me was easy, 4 provinces. So look for the quad at where you were born, and then you will find the heart. And you will notice that one of those pieces probably isn't working right. And I'll tell you which one it is. It's going to be the upper right quadrant, the divine feminine, positive. It's working now, though. Okay? And then you'll see what it is you need to heal within yourself. Because when you heal it within yourself, you heal it within your world. You are the heart of your world. And it's a fractal. Where you came in is the heart center. Doesn't matter if you came in the middle of the Atlantic. There is a reason for everything. And it's all the same fractal. Same quad. Same positive minus masculine, positive minus feminine. You have all 4 of those elements in you. And start walking around and seeing where people are on the crosshairs. Be a good observer. Watch people. Watch your reflection. This is your world around you. Imagine 2 people, a guy and a girl, arguing. What are their energies? Well, the guy's arguing from an out-of-control negative feminine, and the girl is arguing from an out-of-control masculine intent. How are they doing? Not very good.
Oh, yeah, I noticed this one, Kate.
Right? So when you notice it outside of yourself, you'll notice it within yourself. And that's when you become finely tuned to your surroundings. Then you start becoming the empath. And you better get a grip on it, because if you haven't got it early on, you will be at effect to it. It took me a long time to learn how to turn things off outside of me. But it's a lot easier now because I can spot the energies. And the neat thing is my cab driver doesn't drive down those neighborhoods anymore. I'm not on the back roads. I'm not on the scenic route. I'm on the Autobahn to immortality. Anyone else want to come along?
I want to ride a spaceship, though, not a cab.
Well, you better sort this game out then, and then that's the immortality. Then you can do whatever you want. But it's like humanity, starts their game with I want dessert. Then I'll have breakfast. It's all backwards here, but that's the game. And like I said about the merry-go-round, you can see where you are in the merry-go-round. How much of the stuff are you picking up? And the easiest way to pick things up is to simply say, okay, I'm going to look at that. See, there's no emotion in that. Someone comes at me and says, oh, okay, you're a bitch, this, that, and the other. Well, I said, okay, well, I'm going to look at that to see why I gave that energy out and not neutralize my position well enough. I always look in the mirror. I don't look at anybody else. It's not your fault, it's mine. I'm getting the reaction back. And then, once I figure it out, the universe is going to test you to make sure. The first step is the leap of faith. The second step, that's the I believe. Great allegory in Scorpion King 2. They're on top of this huge tower with no way to the ground in the underworld. There's a group of them standing on top of it. And of course, Matthias, he's the leader, So he decides to take his leap of faith, and he steps out into the abyss. And lo and behold, a step comes sliding out. And he stands on it. It's like, whoa, and it's this 200, 300-foot tall cylinder above the desert floor that they're all standing on. And he's out on this little step that just popped out of nowhere. And then, oh well, I'm going to be cocky, and it's going to do the same thing again. Oh, but it doesn't. It does one better. He goes to step out, and that another step doesn't appear, and he ends up falling flat in his face at ground level. That's the step of knowing. And most people are willing to take the first shot with a bullet to hit the bullseye. And then because that worked, they're afraid to take another step in a different direction, which is what Matthias had to do. He had a 90-degree turn. Instead, most people will pick up the empty shell, put it back in the gun, and expect to hit the bullseye again. No, you got to pick up a new round. That's when you know. You hit the bullseye twice. Now you know. You've left Pisces, I believe. Because I'll tell you, when you step out and you go, oh, wow, that did work, you're a believer. You're not a knower yet, but you are a believer. It's only when you put that to the test one more time that you know it works. In the same way that I laugh at people that talk about cops. And I got one riding right up my ass, and I'm eating some McDonald's fries. I like poisoning myself occasionally. This is a while back. I'm looking in the mirror going, oh, this should be interesting. I munching away, listening to my Bill Donahue. Sits behind me for 45 seconds, a minute, and then floating around me and fucked off. I just started to laugh because I knew. Yeah. You see, I don't believe it anymore. I know it. And everything I know will be put to the test. I have no doubt of that. Am I up to the test? Yep. I carry mags with me, baby. Lots of mags. Magazines? Just a coincidence that it's called a magazine, a mag. Make sure your mag is clean. Don't want to get sand in there. And it goes on and on. When you start seeing it from every perspective, everything tying together. I mean, even the characters' names, real living people's names in this Band of Brothers thing, it's just hilarious. I mean, Sergeant Malarkey getting the laundry for his other soldiers, the ones that were dead, well, their laundry's clean. Yeah, no dirty laundry there because they're dead. And what's her name? Miss Lamb? Are you kidding me? Colonel Sink? Yeah, goes on and on. When you start seeing these things, it doesn't make a believer out of you. Oh, it can, but you really want it to make a knower out of you. And yes, I see all the okays in the rooms. You see, everybody gets it, so I guarantee you, Lisa, you'll never forget the proper answer. What is the correct answer I always look for?
Okay.
Perfect. See, you get a gold star every time now.
I don't care about gold stars.
Well, you better, because you are one. Maybe that's the problem. What about you? What is it about you don't love? That you don't think you...
Well, actually, no, you already hit on it. You already hit on my biggest wound the first time, which is that I have a tendency to... It sounds like I'm defending myself because my mother never let me be. I was so abused. And, oh, God, I think I'm going to cry, but please let me talk. I'll do it slowly.
Oh, okay.
I know who I am, and I know I'm beautiful,
Lisa,
and I teach about how we're all radiant beings.
Lisa,
and I remember that.
Lisa.
But I incarnated in a very...
Lisa, stop now, or I will mute you. You're going on and on. I feel the drama coming on. You said one word. Was. Is that now or past?
It's actually past, but it's coming up now. I've been consciously working on it.
No, that's not past then.
The wound was past, yes.
No, it's not. You're still manifesting it.
No, actually, I've completely got it out of my life now.
Okay. Let me know when you know. Let me know when you know that.
What I'm afraid of is my own power because I've experienced it, and I'm aware of it, and it's about the right to be and exist. and I was taught that I didn't, and that was the sad, sad, sad thing I picked up.
Somebody get Lisa some diapers and a soother, please.
She doesn't need them. She'll piss all over herself gladly, and then drink it. But what I was saying is that I was taught that I didn't have a right to be, and that's the most. In this lifetime, my ego.
Okay, slow down. Look at your fucking ego go. Can I share in the conversation, please, or is it all about you tonight?
I thought you asked me a question.
I'm trying,
but I don't need to talk.
I'm trying to show you what you are saying, what you are creating, so that you will stop creating this nightmare for yourself. Is that okay with you?
How come you always tell me to shut up when I talk from my heart?
Because you're talking from a program, love. You're talking from a drama center, and I tell you this because I can feel you. When I feel you, there's something there. When it's neutral, everything just flows. So taught, what does the word taught mean?
In your language?
No,
I was indoctrinated. This is more how I see it.
Okay, I didn't catch any of that. Sorry, guys. Elvita, what was that, love? You jumped in?
Oh, yes. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Yeah,
hello.
I just wanted to say that some of the deepest, darkest things that happen to us, those are our most important places where we learned the lesson.
The contrast.
The contrast. And you remember the lesson and not the event,
You learn the contrast. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, here's another way of saying what Elvita just said there, and she's exactly right. Are you living in that moment by bringing it forward? I'm going to see if you agree in a second. Shut your fucking ego up for a second, okay? Just chill with me, Lisa. Jesus Christ, your ego just wants to jump in.
It's
all right?
personality.
No, it's not.
My
it's fucking program.
I'm playful.
Okay, okay, I'm playful too.
How about the universe putting me...
Okay, how about a mute button? That works. All right, yeah. See, I don't tolerate jumping in egos all the time. Jumping in concepts, I do, and I love you this much that you're going to hate me until you get this. Taut means to be pulled tight. The line is taut. The lie that's mine is taut. It's pull tight. Your strand on the cobweb is so tight that as soon as anybody touches it, your whole fucking web vibrates and you're out of control. All your dishes are getting rattled. You got to loosen this up. The only way we can weave with each other is when we're not so taut, when we're not so tight. Then we learn how to weave in and out of each other, where we have conversations, not debates, where we have open concepts and defensive positions trying to defend an old idea that's absolutely bullshit, that's keeping you in the old idea. I just throw some TNT in there. I get the Nobel Prize on that one. And I'll blow it up, TNT, absolutely. The cross and the crucifixion, TNT. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. It's not about what my definition of it. I didn't ask you what my definition of it was. I asked you, what does the word taught mean to you? And it can be to be taught in school. And you're pulled tight into a line, a very tight line. That's why it's called taught. It's not a coincidence. There are no coincidences. And the most important thing that I can get people to do is to shut up. That's tough. And I have to be perfectly frank, because I always am for some reason. I don't know. But I really, really, really don't like having to talk anymore. I haven't liked it for a long time. I do it because this is my service. This is my crucifixion. And I'll do it for as long as the universe says I must. I don't imagine it's going to be for that much longer. It'll just be in a different way. What I can only offer is benevolence. Yeah, go ahead, jump in, please.
Can I give an answer?
I don't know, can you?
Are you listening? Is everybody listening?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh,
I think that's a correct answer. I think that's a wonderful answer.
Mhm.
Silence.
That's the fuck up.
Thank you.
Yes.
That nails it.
Mhm.
You got to spend some time with you, and not the version of you that has you caught in these past moments. If you find an emotion within you, hey, that's your clue. Got to look at that. Like I said, you're going to do the work for you, or your friends and family are going to do it, and they're going to not do it as nicely as you can do it for yourself. Okay? So when you feel something that has any emotion attached to it, you are still the thread that is pulled so tight and holding you back, Pinocchio. You got to snip that. How you snip it, your scissors are this simple. You look at it and go, wow, look how far I've come from there, how much I've grown to not be what my mom or dad said I was, to not be all of the things that were bullshit told to me. See the contrast of where you were to see where you are. Now you have an idea of where you're going. Seems a much more sane way to approach things personally. That's just me. I've done the other one. It ran me in circles, made my merry-go-round go much faster. I got dizzier until I decided to finally step off the merry-go-round and have a look, have a real look. See the doors that have passed me a few times. The doors of opportunity are there every instant of the day. Like this whole idea of that, opportunity only knocks once. Well, it only knocks once every instant. People used to say, well, you only live once. And I used to say, yeah, per lifetime. I'll make you right. I love making people right. Because you don't have any rights. Okay? You are the right. You are the ritual. You are the magician. Do not separate yourself from your power by saying you have rights. You just cut them in half when you said that, unknowingly, in your ignorance of divine law. Sound. You can say have all day long, and I'll put the L in it if you don't understand what you're saying. Someone says to me, I'll have that. Says, yes, you will. I'll take the other half. Thanks. This is the power you all wield. So I'll open up your mic again, Lisa. Let's bring it under...
Yes?
There you go.
No, I heard you unmute me.
Okay. No, that's okay. I just needed to get this... I was trying to tell you
and
this.
I love you dearly.
I was trying to tell you that. Yeah.
No, I get that. And the universe has you in my world for a reason. A lot of what you said are the things, what you have is me out of context because we haven't really shared when we weren't on the radio.
So
and
saith the ego.
I've come through the past. No, and I've come back to this, and I'm consciously looking at it for a reason. But my question to you is, I'm very empathic and I'm very intuitive, and I'm a healer, and I'm extremely empathic, as you are. But I feel your heart wound, the radio. Where is your joy, Kate?
Oh, well, my joy is there until egos show up and start ripping away at it. You see, because when people tear at me, they're not tearing at me, they're tearing at everything and everyone. So please, stop taking my joy. That is my joy.
No, I love sarcasm, and I'm a practitioner.
I'm not being
myself.
sarcastic. Again,
I didn't say you were
okay?
now. I didn't say you were being sarcastic. What I meant is that you are a lot of the time sarcastic, and I appreciate it, and I do it too. It's like this. I don't know. The British are very good at it. You have to be intelligent to it, but everybody we all tap the same intelligence field. So there's no smarter or better or any of this. It's all stupid illusion, like you talk about. But a lot of people are shut off to that. And the reason I call in and listen to you is because of a level of experience I have utilizing that field, as you do, obviously, and everyone else on this call or who listens to you does, is that it's perfect to see the perfection and the system and clarity and see how everything works. But if you do that without bringing your heart along, why bother?
This is why I don't want to come on the air anymore.
Why?
Hearing what I say fall on deaf ears.
I'm listening.
I'd like to just read something.
Yeah, would you? Because I got here. Let me just do before you read. Please do. I just want to do the quick shout out for criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul Giovanni and the crew. Thank you guys so much. We've got about 20 minutes till we roll over. Mike, if you want to take the helm, I'll have to hang up, and that's why. Who is that? Carol that's going to read? Who we got?
DJ.
Sorry. Yeah, if you want to do that, and we have Colleen, and of course Lisa's there as well, and Elvita, and Steve's in there too. So what I'm gonna do, Mike, if you can, I'll hang up from the call, and I'll let you take the helm from there. Yeah, go ahead.
Before you do, I just one quick thing, and then because I'm going to go too. I understand exactly what you say when you just feel like you don't have any more to say, but just a thought on who we are and what we're doing here. Our imaginations are wonderful. Our imaginings are great, but they have to be founded in truth and knowledge of what we are and what we know, or the human imagination will spin off into fantasy, and it will just get caught up in illusions of great grandeur and just spin all these fairy tales in front of us. So for those that get caught up in the fantasy of imagination, find a way to ground yourself, and the only way to do that is with the reality of who we are, and that is our connection with the earth. So if you can't go towards her and get caught up in that connection and then have your imaginations with that, then you're going to get caught up in the fantasy of illusion, and it's just going to spin away.
Yep.
Well said, Lexstar.
Okay, anyway, I just want to see if Mike has... Mike, did you get what I said there?
Yeah, Kate. All good.
Okay, I'll leave you to it. And, guys, I'm going to have to rock because I've got to hit the road. I'm late. Well, I can't say I'm late. It's perfect as it is. So, but I definitely wanted to leave that where it was. So the board's open for another 19 minutes, Mike. So just call in on the host call-in and use the host pin, okay? Or Skype.
All right, good
or
night.
Skype.
Have
What's
a good
that?
night, Kate. Love you.
Oh, guaranteed.
Okay,
Guaranteed.
wait a second.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
Just call in on the host.
Wait a second.
Just call in Skype or call in via the number, okay?
All right, let's see if it works. Because if you drop now, the board doesn't remain open just to end the show.
No.
I'm already on the board.
Yeah. No, the board will end at the top of the hour if you don't bother calling in. If you want to just run to the top of the hour, then just do that, okay?
Yeah, I got you now. Cool.
All right, so the table is it's all yours. Mike, you got the helm, and steer this beautiful ship home, will you, please?
All right.
Much
All
love,
right.
Kate.
Love you guys,
Much
and
love.
I'll catch you tomorrow night. And I've got 3 shows tomorrow, so sooner I get on the road, sooner I can get to bed, sooner I can get my shit together for a very long day tomorrow. Okay.
All right.
Love you guys.
Peace out.
Okay. Bye.
All right. We're all still here, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, Steve, that was such a beautiful point, beyond the point, that you bring in, and that's about connecting our imagination. It's more than that. It's putting ourselves in a way in context with this planet, with this living being that we are in. It's her story. If we get out of that context, we are really going into fantasy. We're going into some distorted reality of the Matrix, of some authority ruling over us, which is the game we used to play. And the new one, to really get in touch with reality, really, if you don't have this planet inside your, with your story, it's fantasy. You're not including the being that you're living in. And this is what's awakening. And this is what I believe I think Steve was touching on. And this is what really grounds us. And then your imaginings really can take flight, really can sing from the heart. And it's not fantasy. This is where you have that core knowing of what is here for us. our natural state of being. And I love it. Thank you.
Wonderful, Mike. I love listening to you speak.
All right, so the table's open, guys. I'm going to mute my mic. You ladies, go for it. And any guys that got their mics open, we're all here.
Michael, I love listening to you speak. Your heart resonance is amazing.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
So Alvita, you're here, yeah? Alvita?
Oh, yes. I think somebody was going to read. I think DJ was going to read a story or something she was going to read for us.
Okay.
Yeah, hi.
All right, wonderful. Alvita, I just wanted to say thank you for some of your just really heartfelt posts you've been sharing out there. It's connecting with me. It's connecting with, I think, all of us, man. Thanks for the love.
All right, you're welcome. I do my best. I'm getting better at it, though, because I'm, more awake now. So they can't trick me no more. I got it. I got it now. Yeah. All right, thank you. Okay,
all
DJ.
Right, yeah. Somebody's got something to read, DJ.
Yeah, sure. I was just reading this today before the show. Reading a Kundalini book by John White. Anyway, there's a quote in here. It says, "When all the knots of the heart are unloosened, then even here in this human birth, the mortal becomes immortal. This is the whole teaching of the scriptures." I thought it was quite fitting for the call tonight.
Who was the author of that Kundalini book, hun?
John White.
John White. I never found that one. Awesome. Thank you for the reading.
Would you read that one more time?
Sure. When all the knots of the heart are unloosened, then even here in the human birth, the mortal becomes immortal. This is the whole teaching of the scriptures.
I don't know about anybody
unloosed.
else.
Well,
I'm
it seems to me that well, I'm not, because it said the knots of the heart are unloosed. Shouldn't it be the knots of the heart are loosed?
That's what I was thinking myself. But that's how it's.
See, you got to watch. Well, you got to watch the words, because it's just like when people talk to you, and they give you an idea or a thought, and you say, "Oh, yeah, well, that sounds, like it makes sense," and you go on with it, and you repeat it, and then somebody else repeats it. Well, the knots of the heart are unloosed, so that means they're still tied up in knots.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
The dark night of the soul that comes after Kundalini is a very interesting process. Not for the meek.
Well, that's an ancient religion or theology or mythos or whatever word you want to use for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how far back those writings go. I'm sure they've been brought forward from antiquity. But it seems to me that from all the things that we've learned or are trying to learn and understand about our presence today compared to our presence in antiquity, and I bring this up again, and there's a whole lot of people out there that I've listened to, but to bring up Santo's work on where we're at in our procession, most of those writings come from as far back as 5,000-6,000 years ago, which was at the bottom of the rung of the ladder for the human race. And I think maybe we need to really pay attention when we look at these things and discern them properly so that we're not deceived again. Because if these thoughts, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, I'm not making a judgment call here, but every individual has to use their own discernment on, do we want to take this as a verbatim that this is what we want to do again? Do we want to do what was done 5,000-6,000 years ago and do another 5,000 or 6,000 years of it, or do we want to move into the age of Aquarius and go forward?
Moving forward real fast. That's enough of that. That is definitely enough.
Thanks, Steve.
Well, it's just, I don't.
Go on, Steve.
Well, no, I come on here and I just throw these thoughts out there, the things you ponder. And there's a lot of information out there, and we are moving into different positionings and different energies and different atmospheric conditions and different weather patterns. The physical and the spiritual are kind of ramping together right now. But we have been aligned and misaligned and informed and misinformed and smoke and mirrored for a long, long time. And I'm saying that all the things that we're learning from this is wonderful knowledge, but it kind of goes to the old, I think it was the Guess Who, the song, We Won't Get Fooled Again. Well, if you're not going to get fooled again, then be very careful as you bring this ancient knowledge from the bottom of the sine wave forward, that you don't get caught up in it again and get played for another round.
Exactly. I say that we've been lied to so long that we've forgotten who we are and what we're capable of.
Well, this is why it's coming clearer right now. It's not about knowledge; it's about being. And
exactly.
Because we could get, as Steve's mentioning, we can get trapped in the game again of whose knowledge, who's got the answer, what is the secret knowledge, who's got that over here, oh, I'm looking for this over here, when it's all contained in self to begin with. And this remembering, by being, we access this knowledge. So again, it's not an external game we're going to play again. It's an internal remembering. And in this way, a new opening is arising, is here.
A mama.
And this is the kind of the message that I think is resonating with so many of us, is because it's being shared. It's being shared. We talk about radio waves and frequencies being sent from the electronics and things of that nature. And the remembrance for me is there is a whole organic, if we'll use the word grid, whole organic structure of beautiful waves and frequencies already here to tune into. And that way we tune out the distortion. And what's here? Beauty, love, nature, joy, truth, happiness, the song of life. And this is what's coming. And this is what's here. And when I recognize some of the contrasting natures of my consciousness, I might for a little bit get discouraged and think, oh, me, what did we do this time? And then I'm reminded. I catch the other frequencies and vibrations from the nature that remind me of the heart and the higher selves of all of us, the true inner core of all of us. And I'm not, and then I remember that beautiful story that Gaia Sophia, the Iron Sophia, has for us here. That is singing this song, and I tune into that, and yes.
I wrote something that, during my Kundalini, and it says, transformation. This is my wish for you. If you choose to surrender to this process, you will travel through your lens of fear and all its illusions into the light where you clearly see all there is love and perfection everywhere, and this includes you. Surrender. What you resist persists. Surrender. That is the key.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this surrendering, what we're basically reminded of, we're not surrendering to some outside source. And when we talk about surrendering, it's basically, if we want to use, for me, a less tainted word, so to say, we're accepting. We're accepting ourselves. And there's a beautiful saying, if you can't see the Supreme in all, you can't see the Supreme at all. And let me tell you, the little trick in that one is you can usually see the Supreme in everyone outside you. It's yourself. Again, don't forget that little key. Little key. Don't forget that important key. And we have about 5 minutes left in the show. So please, whoever wants to chime in, please do. And we're going to roll out of here because I didn't log back in the board, and the show will end in approximately 5 minutes. But the real show, which is this one is part of, is always flowing. And that's the heart, that's the love story of all of us.
Heaven, yeah.
Yes, it's all about us. It's all about us, ourselves. Everything is inside. Everything is there. All your answers is there. You know, we never, ever needed anybody to help us along. You know, we just got stuck in the matrix. Yeah, we got it. We got it, everybody. I'm telling you, you know, we got it. We got everything and some. Infinity.
You got it, sister. It's so lovely. I just want to express my gratitude for everyone who's on the call. I really appreciate having conversations of this coming in my life.
Okay, a couple more minutes. Anybody else like to say a few words?
Well, I'd just like to say in closing, I was off on a phone call there, so I didn't hear the last several minutes or whatever that was going on. But like you said, Michael, the connection is with the Earth. You know, we can talk about spaceships and aliens and all that other crap all you want, but you better get your connection with her first. Otherwise, your mind will just revel in the fantasies of that creation. So just everybody just take a walk out and try to figure this thing out on their own, because that's where it comes from. It's all from within yourself. So good night, everyone. Love you.
Love you too, Jay.
Well, see, here's the beauty of this, and we're not saying to discount any extraterrestrial, what we're talking, story. We're just reminding you of the base, your foundation. And when you have this, then you can connect back up with your soul brothers and star sisters with balance. Then you can actually, then you will actually be communicating in that free space once more. And because you have your base correct, you're grounded where you are. And inside that's where our heart is. Our heart ain't flying around in some galaxy far, far away. Our heart's right here, beating in our chests, beating in the center of our creation. And from this point, we can now interact with all that is. We were kind of trying to interact from other kind of points of our consciousness that weren't grounded in the base reality of the heart, where we are balanced, where we do resonate with the truth, where we are coming from love. And then we can have the eyes to hear and the ears to see.
Yeah.
And again, using all of our being to perceive, not put ourselves into a limiting paradigm again. And we got about 1 minute left. I just want to say much aloha to all. And please keep tuning in.
Aloha to you too,
your hearts, thank you. Your hearts are felt.
Yes. Love,
aloha and mahalo nui loa.
Yep, thank you all very much.
All right. Good night, everyone. Love you.
Good night.
Love you. From all
Sweet dreams, everyone.
Our hearts are always connected. Always. Never separated. And if you want to remember that, just look up in the sky when that sun is shining bright and realize, yep, we're all in this together.
I used to tell my son when I have to leave him, and he'd get really upset. I say, honey, it's okay. Mommy's never really, even though our bodies are away from each other, we're always together in our hearts. So I'm never without you.
Yeah,
right.
There we are.
Mm-hmm.
So remember, all hearts beat as one. And with that, much aloha.
And I think a lot of you that have been at this table for a while know exactly where that's going, and can see the domino falling that's going to take down the banks, the corruptions of the crown, the judges, the lawyers, the cops, the militaries, the insurance companies, the banks, everything. It shreds it because it shows it for the illusion that it is. And I don't know about you, but letting a couple of 100 million people know that they've been screwed by our points of consciousness have been duped and screwed by other points of our consciousness. Most of those actually totally unaware. I mean, there's not that many playing this game. It's not a very difficult game to play if you can keep everybody wrapped up in the literal. You can control an entire planet with that. Haven't you noticed? Another little note too. Anything that gets posted on my Facebook page, if you haven't got, I don't care who it is, if you haven't got an allegorical breakdown for the headlines that you're putting up there and it just comes across as some sort of fear porn, I will delete it. And no harm, no foul. I have no issues with anyone putting anything on my page as long as they can redefine it, redefinition it. Other than that, I'll just delete it because I don't have time to do it for everybody. So it's time to cut your mitten strings and get with it yourselves. Stop asking others questions that you need to ask yourself. Google is your friend. The answers you require are around you right now. They are everywhere. They are infinite. You are sitting listening right now for a very specific reason. Everything in the room or place where you are at around you is telling you all the clues you need to know if you have the eyes to see it. And that's what we're doing at this table, showing people the eyes to see it. And actually, they're on the sides of your head. That's why you got 2 ears and 2 eyes. There's your quad. Yeah, all roads lead back to poem. Oh, you might say Rome, but of course I like to interchange the P and the R as well, right? So what you have is the real story of the fact that Creator is a poet. All roads lead to poem. Po, the seed, the spirit seed of creation, magnetic electric. So it's po-me. But you can still pronounce it poem. P-O-M-E, pronounces poem just as well as P-O-E-M. So let's put the magnetic first for a change, shall we? Because I've had enough of this overindulgence in masculine electrical intent. It kind of went a little screwy. Ends up in things like world wars and shit like that. Quite quite mental. But I'll tell you, to put a lighter twist on this whole notion of what people deem as death is simply this. That's the stop point for that individual that still not getting it. Okay, well, body drops back to zero with all the tools that you've learned to do it again. Okay? So I'm going to put your reality in a very interesting place right now. You may have heard it like this before. I'm going to get into it a little bit deeper. I'm going to show you how all these things tie together. From the silver screen, I'm going to take you on a Star Trek ride through Mission Impossible and prove it. I won't just say it, I'll prove it. Your mission, how clever it is and how competitive it is, and all of the different programs that run constantly within the human psyche called the id and the ego. That's why your ego requires an id entity, because that's what it is. It's an ID, it's an id, right? Identification. Now, these are early on clues as to the real magic contained within the sounds of the words, which, of course, creates all reality. What you say is what you create. Say, himself, herself, itself. Anytime you hear that sound, it is pure creation, regardless of the language you hear it in. So I was reading through that article regarding this book, and just had that feeling, I got the key for this. I know I've got the key for it. Because all these people are look at the scholars. They've been trying since it was found to decode this book, and they're up to 9 words, which I thought was an interesting number, don't you think? That's what I thought too. And interesting what the words were. They all had relevance to me. As far as a game plan, I could tie it together with my experience as to why it was those 9 words. You know, words like Taurus, Chiron, Centauri. You know, that's 3 of the words. There was a few others, cotton, cassar, and of course we get into all sorts of different sounds around the supposed translations. You see, what they're trying to do is decode it through different writings and different languages, correlating like they did with the Rosetta Stone was found in the 1800s, I believe, in Egypt, and it was the stone that made the hieroglyphs readable. That for me was a physical clue. So had to find the spiritual one, right? Because everyone seems to be working in this physical realm all the time, and it's really boring. I like creating effects in the physical based on what I know from spiritual. And we found the physical key to decoding different languages so we could start to understand ourselves. But the one thing that was overlooked, it was only one little thing regarding all languages. You have all these brilliant scholars that, well, I can speak 20 languages and I'm passable in 20 others, and you know all the. Yeah, it's great. I'm glad you have that, but that's an ego tool if that's all you're using it for. It's just straight up communication with another tongue that uses exactly the same thing every other language uses that we kind of overlooked, and that was sound, the creation of all things. And this is exactly what now has absolutely destroyed the crown. It has destroyed all of the court systems. I mean this quite literally. That's where truth is going, straight into the belly of the beast. I don't know about you, but I think decoding the Vonich manuscript that has eluded scholars for over a century might be interesting news for most of the masses, where, you know, speaking of truth and whatnot may not resonate with the Walmart shoppers, but a titillating bit of information of, wow, the Vonich book has been decoded. Yeah, well, let's just say all the intellectuals can gather around and stare at it all along, and they'll never see it until they start hearing it. And that, what I mean by that is seeing it with their ears. See all of the garden. You know, ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. Yeah, what's your pose? Creation. Your pose. Asha. Well, that's what you rise from, the ashes. We all fall down until we decide to not bother with that any longer, where we all stand up. I've had a few people tag me in the last day or so regarding legal this and legal that. Whatever it takes to get you guys there, just go to my website. And all I'm going to tell people to do is start at choices and read everything. And you won't be asking questions about, well, do I register this? Do I have a limited that? Do I need to this? No. You don't need to do any of that once you know what you're doing. That's the game, to see that you don't need to do that. Right? We've played the games to expose all the things we need. I equate it simply like this. Imagine picking up a rifle to shoot a bullseye. You put a bullet in the chamber and you pull the trigger and you hit a bullseye and you go, woo, I win. And then because you're so excited about that win, you bend over and you pick up the spent cartridge and you put the spent cartridge back in the rifle and pull the trigger again, expecting another win, another bullseye. But you didn't bother to move on from that one and get a new bullet. You just keep reusing the same one over and over. And then I will ask you, how's that working for you? Click, click, click. How come I'm not hitting the target? I'm pulling the trigger. I'm aiming the rifle. I said, yeah, but you got no gunpowder in the bullet, and you certainly don't have a bullet to send, right? And these are allegories. The instant you think you've won is the instant you've lost. That's your fork in the road. Now, you can hang out there all you want, and it'll feel good for a little while, and then the universe will start nudging you along. Mama bird will start hoofing you out of the nest again. And to the degree that you're motivated is the degree of whether it's a feather brushing you or a steel-toed boot under your ass over the rail. And you're the one that chooses it. No one but you. Hate to tell you that. So you are on a suicide mission. Excuse me. For those in the literal mindset, from the instant you are born, you have but one goal. Apparently, if you're to believe the system and the literals, you have a goal to work yourself to death. Good game, huh? Woohoo! Let's keep doing that one. And maybe when I hit 67 or 70, whatever they want to raise the retirement to, which is kind of silly, it's not going to happen anyway, but you start seeing the insanity of your life. You start seeing the whole point of, well, here, try this one on. Oh, I'm dead anyway. Might as well have some fun, huh? It's a suicide mission. If you were to think in the regular mainstream think, you're born, you go to school, you work, you retire, family, whatever, then you die. And apparently there is a Cadillac waiting for you in heaven that you made payments on. But you won't get it until you die. Haven't seen anybody drive back with one. So you are on a suicide mission. I'm not sure how many divine wind pilots kamikaze. And remember, the J sound I silenced, so all you're left with is the I'm from Jim, right? Your mission, I am key, row key, which is church, by the way. Key, your key, or Kirk, as in James Tiberius Kirk. Key, row key. So your mission, I am key, row key. If you choose to take it, you are on a suicide mission to kill the under I. Sue, under in French, I, the self, side, to kill. You are on a suicide miss Ion, or miss Shun, or my Isis in creation mine. Oh, so many things in just the word mission. So if you choose to take it, you are on a suicide mission. If you pass the mission, you live, immortal. And if you fail your mission, well, you go back to birth, replay from Groundhog Day 0, but with more mission tools this time from your last miss Shun, until you figure it out as an I'm mortal again. That's the Homer Simpson moment. right? Because the instant you exit the game, you come back into the same game piece to do it over. Different being this time, though, you have some extra tools at your disposal. So this is really your choice between I'm mortal game or the immortal game. And while the ego refuses to believe this, I will leave those Piscean fish heads to go and drown themselves and, well, enjoy the ride. It's a merry-go-round. How many times would you need to be on a merry-go-round going around and around and around before you would actually start noticing everything around you? Oh, the ride's fun at first. I'm on the merry-go-round, and you're looking at all the other kids and blah, blah, blah. But you never paid attention to what was going on. Then the ride was over. You had to get off. And then you went back onto the merry-go-round. Maybe you chose the same character. You seem to like that kind of sculpted fish-type creature with a saddle on it. And you rode that one for a while. Then you finally decided, well, you're noticing a few things, and you think, I'm going to change my game piece. And then you decide to jump on this saddled pig, for example, or a saddled chicken, or a saddled horse, where I have chosen the unicorn this ride. A spiral into infinity. I'm going to do the immortal, the not mortal game now. It's really simple. Think about it. Infinite beings living infinite lifetimes. Tell me what your last death was like. You can't, because it's not in your consciousness. It's not meant to be. Just the memories, right? We're here to learn and gain bliss. You might have some stuff tied up with it from the past. Excuse me, not able to see things, but the problems that most people have to go through are things that have been dragging on and on and on throughout lifetime after lifetime. And for some of us, we've been on this merry-go-round a very long time, and we've noticed all of the stores around it. We've noticed all of the signs, all of the sales, all of the, wherever you basically can now, in your mind.
You're listening to Kate of Gaia on Critical Mass Radio. The game is up. Now, it's our turn.
Hey, good evening. Welcome to Outside the Box here Friday night. We'll get into a few things tonight. Are you seeing magic yet? If you're not, you're blind. You're using your eyes. You're not seeing with your ears. Right? Okay. We all know that the physical universe is built of sound. Google it. You'll see it. Google. That's the throat of consciousness. We talked about the consciousness being goo, the all primordial goo. Well, then check the throat of the consciousness, which is Google. I'm often amazed at how quickly people give up when they're looking for something. And no problem. I just stand back to go look again. Looking for things. Why are you asking me? You got to follow your own trails. That's how I found it. And it certainly wasn't through asking a lot of things outside of myself. Early on it was, but I learned very quickly that the only answers that were being given to me were ones that were somebody else's choices. Right? I had to make them my own, of course, but this game is so much easier than people realize. I'm going to touch on the book discovered in 1912, the same year Olympus fell. You might have called it the Titanic, but it was Olympus that fell, where the Titans actually rose up against the gods, and the Titans were left free to roam the oceans like pirates. Titanic is the allegory. And, of course, Britannia, the Britannic, which was the three sisters, Olympic, Titanic, and Britannic. Most people have never even heard of the Britannic, but those ships were built at the Harlem Wolff shipyards in Belfast. I was born about 900 meters away from the shipyard. Rode in the same harbor the ships were built in. So, again, this is about connecting your own threads, right? To see how your game unfolds for you as it unfolds for me. We're all telling the same story, just from different life experience perspectives, different points of intent, different points of view. Just a coincidence that Wilfred Voynich was the gentleman who discovered this book, 14th or 15th century book, in an Italian monastery. Of course, it had to go back to Rome Italy. And the name says it all for me anyway. It's my eyes key, right? Voix and key. You might say Vonic, Vonich, whatever the case may be. And of course, it's about freeing the true will. That's what the will free is all about. Will free the Trinity. I happen to share in a former given name from my parents that same name. Will free the divine feminine with the key of God, with twin sons of the sun. That's what my first name translated into. And of course I changed my path accordingly to Purity Reborn, which was unbeknownst at the time. Of course everything's perfect. It's not a matter of what you know, it's a matter of what you are aware of. You know everything. Well, the ego thinks it does. Anyway, let's not confuse you with the program Chatterbox that runs in your left brain, constantly trying to prove how really beautiful and smart it is, and